And joining us now, you can hear him on the international desk on WrestleviewRadio.com. You can also hear him on the FM dial of Phoenix 92.5 FM in Ireland. I'm going to bring on a guy, Darragh O'Connor. I had a chance to talk to you a few months ago on your show, and I figured it was time to return the favor. Darragh, how are you doing this afternoon? How's everything going over there in Ireland?
I'm doing great, Stephen. Thanks very much for having me on. And, it was great to have you on the international desk, and I'm excited to be on No Static Radio.
Thank you for your time, obviously. We're happy to have you. Let's just dive right into this, Darragh. This past Monday night on Raw, John Cena came out and basically challenges Randy Orton, let's unify the titles. Titles had not been unified since 2001 when Chris Jericho defeated The Rock and Steve Austin on the same night. And ever since the brand split in 2002, there's been two champions. Just get your thoughts on this. Was this the right time to pull the move, make the move, or would you have done this more at a WrestleMania type of moment?
Right. Well, first things first, Chris Jericho invented the Undisputed Championship.
Yes.
Chris Jericho invented inventing.
Yes.
But seriously, the first time it was done, it was kind of like the reset button. It was to kind of wipe the slate clean, as it were, from the invasion angle. And it's a good time to do this kind of stuff. It's the only time you can really do it and recover. So, like, right now, we have this lull, TLC, it's a throwaway pay-per-view, just like Vengeance was a throwaway pay-per-view. Nobody really thought anything big was going to happen. So it gives you room to play with it, If you do it on a run-up to WrestleMania, everybody's watching. You have to stick with it. So if it sucks, it's going to crash and burn, everybody's going to see it. But at least if they do it this way and it's not working out, they can go, well, we'll throw something at Royal Rumble or we'll do some at WrestleMania and it'll be able to save it. So I think this is the only real time to do it because, one, you're going to get a pretty good buy rate or a lot of interest anyway around the TLC pay-per-view, maybe that you wouldn't get normally. And two, the focus is on, right, the Royal Rumble really means something because there's only one world champion. And in the main event, whoa, you have to watch it. So right now is the perfect time to do it. And a better question is, the two people, Randy Orton and Cena, is it the right time for those guys to go for it? Yeah, because I honestly feel that this match is a bookend to their era. Because if you look what's coming up now, the ruthless aggression era, or whatever you call it, the PG era, whatever you want to call it, it's coming to an end.
Yeah, I was curious to see what you thought. Either you do or you don't think that these two should be the guys in this match. Last time we did this, I believe the four guys we had was like a little mini tournament. We had Kurt Angle, Steve Austin, The Rock, and Chris Jericho. Four big guys of the Attitude Era that was still left in the company, minus The Undertaker and Triple H, obviously. Triple H being out and Undertaker doing other things. This time they're just taking the two guys that, when they made that brand split, were rookies coming up in the system from OVW at the time, and they have carried this company to where it's at now. Personally, I think this is definitely the two guys you pull the trigger with. I know some people out there think, well, maybe you should get a Daniel Bryan or a CM Punk or a Dolph Ziggler involved. I'd have to say that they're pulling the right trigger having these two guys in this spot.
No, not yet. That comes from the hatred, deep-seated hatred of John Cena, and also a dislike of seeing this match again. You can pull out anything from 2009, their series there, which is, we've seen this match hundreds of times. But it's not that big of a deal. Like, I think these two guys is the only way you could do it now at this point. If they really want to go forward and progress, bring up the NXT guys, which they're doing, set the stage for future stars, and, have your Daniel Bryan, have your CM Punk, all that kind of stuff involved, great, but there is nobody else, I think, that could have a match like this and really be able to put the punctuation mark and go, right, that's it. This means something. It's. I know a lot of people go, oh, they're just props. Yeah, they are, but props exist for a reason and need to mean something. And it's the only way you can do
it. Going back to John Cena, do you think this is something they were planning on doing?
Yeah.
Even back when he had the injury at SummerSlam, do you think when he comes back, we're going to have him go out for the World Championship and then we're going to unify the titles? Do you think they said, you know what, John's back, he's healthier than we expected him to be, let's just do this now?
Maybe a bit from A and a bit from B. So the answer's somewhere within C. I think they have wanted to do this for quite some time. maybe they weren't sure about how to do it. And then when Cena did get injured, it gave them time to try out new things. You know, they went out and they saw how Daniel Bryan was going, and they reassessed the situation, you know, why people are getting, you know, kind of bored with the product, or whether or not tuning in, whether or not buying the pay-per-views, etc., etc. So they said, right, we have nothing to lose. Let's just do it now and get one big match between these two guys. So I think they wanted to do it because this has been thrown around for, I would say, 4 to 5 years, this unification thing. A lot of people have wanted it for a while. There's been lots of rumors. I think the new belt that they brought out was also involved at some point. It was like, oh, this is going to be the new belt, and it turned out that it wasn't. But the timing is interesting. If you had said, oh, Darragh, they're going to unify the belts at the end of 2013, I would have said, you're crazy. Why would they do it now? But, you know, it's just one of those decisions of Triple H, who I would say is involved with this, because Triple H is doing some great work behind the scenes, in my opinion. And it just works. It just feels right, you know. There's the same feeling that I got at the end of 2001, because I still remember 2001 very, very vividly as a kid watching this. It feels the same way. I think we're in like just on the cusp of a transition to something else. Now, hopefully, it'll be better than it was in 2002 and 2003, which, you know, nearly killed off WWE. But sure, we'll have to wait and see.
Hey, Darragh, Rick Fargo here.
Hey, Rick.
Do you think there's going to be like a clear-cut winner in this one?
Yes, I would say so. But my co-host Gary Herden this week was saying on the show that there could be a John Cena heel turn. Now before people go crazy, I would say a full-on heel turn. But I think maybe he sides with the Authority, and you see Randy Orton getting screwed over, and John Cena wins. Now, whether he goes full-bore heel or not, but I think there will be some kind of shades of grey thrown in there.
Yeah, definitely. Like on the last pay-per-view, I definitely noticed the rapper routine going on. Some might have not seen that. But I sense a little heel turn, but Steve definitely yelled at me for that one. So
yeah, like I don't think Cena will ever go full heel, because he can't.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with him embracing, you know, shades of grey.
Here's the thing, guys. Are you watching the same product I was watching with this Randy Orton babyface character for the past year and a half? I just don't see that being the guy that he would turn heel against. Daniel Bryan, okay, I can buy that. Right. But Randy Orton, the whole reason you turn him heel is because the babyface shtick was just getting too overdone. Okay, we're not convinced. Oh, he's a snake. My name is Randy Orton, and I'm going to beat you up. No.
Well, Stephen, the thing about it is, with Randy Orton, I don't think it's fair to make that comparison, because Randy Orton's just a body to hold the belt. You know, he could be anybody. He's there basically because he did have those matches with Cena, but the way he's used now, it could be anybody. So I don't think it's him turning heel on Orton. I think it's him siding with the Authority and, you know, going forward as their champion. And you can work with that any way you want to. Now, will they go that way? I think they will, but I don't think they will go, you know, in a traditional heel sense. He'll probably come out, cut some kind of promo going, here's why he did it, you know, I'm still your champion, I still represent you guys, but what have to do what's best for business. It just seems to be they're going to start playing with this. And it's a cool way to go in, and then you can bring up your Roman Reigns, you can bring in your Daniel Bryan, you can all feud with it. The thing writes itself.
Now, last time they unified the belts, Darragh, they ended up eventually, after Jericho, you know, because he invented holding 2 heavyweight championships at the same time. Eventually, they did get a new championship belt. Do you see them getting a new championship belt?
Well, okay. For anybody who listens to the International Desk knows that both myself, Gary, and Corey are huge belt marks. I like belts. You know, I'm sorry, I just do. They're good props. I think we will see the end of the world title belt, and you will probably just go with the WWE Championship that they have now. I don't really see the point of them going with a new belt so soon after introducing a brand new belt. That just doesn't make any sense to me. But I think the days of the big world title are over.
At least for now, unless they want to go back to a brand split down the road, which you can always do. That's the thing about it. They can always go back to having 2 championships if they want to.
Well, Stephen, the thing about it is, right, what a better move for WWE would be, and a lot of people have said this, I'm not the first person to say it, but, you know, focus on Raw. Raw's big enough as it is. You know, it's 3 hours. it's tough slog. You know, I watch it live now most weeks, and I don't know how you guys do it. You know, it's crazy. Sometimes I'll just watch it on my Skybox and fast forward through it. But I do watch it live now on the American feed, thanks to Sky. But they have that. That's 3 hours. That's enough to do most of your WWE programming. SmackDown, they should really look at reformatting. But what they really should do, the best program on that WWE have right now is NXT.
Yes.
They should move NXT up to give it SmackDown slot, and that would be interesting. That's the best hour of wrestling on TV today. Well, it's on TV for us, but you guys, I don't know if it is or not. I'm sorry.
Oh, we were able to see it on Hulu, so I mean, granted it's internet, but yes, I agree. It's the best hour of programming that the WWE can put out right now. Every week, there's always something I can look forward to or break down. The Bo Dallas character is getting over ridiculous at this point.
That's awesome.
Over ridiculous with the Bo Dallas character there, Darragh. But
yeah. I like Bo Dallas though.
I like his extreme awkwardness and just being completely oblivious to everything around him.
Right.
You know what's crazy? That Bray Wyatt is his brother.
Yes, it is crazy. I told a few people that. They're like, what? I'm like, yeah, it's his brother.
It's crazy when you think about it like that. You know, it's just like, okay. And then you can kind of see it, though, sometimes as well. If you freeze frame and compare the two together, you can definitely see it. But Bo Dallas, I think, he's a great heel. He understands it. For me, he's John Cena with the volume turned way up, but he knows he's annoying everybody.
Yes. Yeah, he will eventually force people to say, man, I miss John Cena. You're talking about the Authority, possibly Cena joining them as a possible heel turn. How do you think about that stable right now with Triple H and Stephanie running the show, having their minions like The Shield, and, of course, Randy as the, quote, face of their company? How do you like the way the storyline has gone since SummerSlam when Triple H officially turned heel?
Well, I think the storyline is good. They're making the mistake again of being the show, which it turns off a lot of people. And bringing in Big Show, swapping Daniel Bryan for the Big Show is probably one of the biggest mistakes they made in the past 5 years because nobody likes the Big Show. You can't, well, in the same way as Daniel Bryan. You turn on who's over Daniel Bryan. You go to the live shows, Daniel Bryan's over, not the Big Show. Big Show will get a cheer, but, it's not legitimate because the guy's huge. You can't buy him as a babyface in peril. At least with I'm just going to compare this to when a corporation was around and Austin was going against a corporation. And you could buy that because he was a regular guy. That was the point. Same with Daniel Bryan, a regular guy going against this big stable. So I think it has a lot of potential. The payoff has to be good. But I don't think we've seen the end of it. I think this will ride all its way out to WrestleMania, where we'll see probably some kind of Triple H match with The Rock. That's what's been thrown around right now. I don't know if you guys want to see that, but if I had to put a time limit on it, I'd say to WrestleMania. But so far, I'm liking it.
You're hearing Rock versus Triple H at WrestleMania?
That's what some people are saying.
I would like that.
I didn't think Rock was going to wrestle at all this year. I thought after the injury sustained, he wasn't ready to get back in the ring. But
so did I, Stephen. But that's what's been throwing around an awful lot.
That's the first I've heard of that. It doesn't involve Brock versus Brock, so I can get behind that. Because honestly, with Brock Lesnar, I understand what the big rumor is right now. He's going to take on The Undertaker to try to go after the streak. And I just don't know if that's going to be interesting at all to me.
I don't know. I do think the focus should be the streak this year. The last big match. But I don't know what they're going to do. It's still too early to see. Look, personally, I don't want to see The Rock in a match. I don't like The Rock. Yeah. I haven't thought his matches, any of his matches since he came back were anyway good. But we can never say never, particularly with wrestling.
That much is certain. You never thought you'd see Brock Lesnar back, and he was back 3 months later after he said, never say never. You were speaking a moment ago about how swapping the Big Show for Daniel Bryan was the biggest mistake you saw in 5 years. Just talk a little bit about Daniel Bryan not getting the rub of actually having even a title run for even 3 weeks.
Yeah, it wasn't even like I'm not a kind of guy that goes, "Oh, Daniel Bryan should be champion all the time. Give him all the belts." So, no, that's not it. But the whole premise of wrestling, right, at its most basic level, it's storytelling, right?
Yeah.
And if you're a good guy versus a bad guy mentality, where you want to see some good win, good has to win. At some point, good has to win, and to constantly tease Daniel Bryan winning and him legitimately beating somebody only for them to take it away to the point where people want refunds. That's not how you build somebody. At least when Austin was going against McMahon, he got victories. He got some small victories and a couple of big victories. Now he got busted open and taken out by people. But at the end of the day, he came back. He'd get behind him and he'd be like, right, in a fair fight, Austin's going to do it. With Daniel Bryan in a fair fight, he's going to do it, but it's not going to matter because they're going to reverse the decision.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when they were first doing those Monday Night Raws where they have the whole roster just watch. I remember Rick, he sent me a text saying, "Oh, I don't like this. I don't get this at all." And I'm like, Rick, it's okay. It's all going to be a big payoff. And whoops. Didn't happen.
I was definitely looking forward to the Daniel Bryan payoff for sure. I don't know what's going on. I don't mind the Daniel Bryan, slowing him down, but I think there is a plan for him. I think eventually within the next year I could see him winning it.
Yeah. Yeah, like I do think he will get another title run, and it will. Of course he will, but like what he could have been is gone now. The time to pull the trigger was a couple of months ago when people really, really wanted after SummerSlam when he beat Cena, and Orton cashed in. He should have went after Orton, and probably if they really wanted to hold it out, 2 pay-per-views later, there you go. There's your neat little package. And you have Daniel Bryan as the face of your company. But no, they wanted to build towards this John Cena return.
Yeah, I would definitely look out for Daniel Bryan in the Royal Rumble this year.
Oh, no. I would say the person to look out in the Royal Rumble, Stephen, is Roman Reigns. He's the person, I'm saying it now, I'm saying it on your show, that the person to look out for now in the Royal Rumble, who's the people who are going to be talking about in this Royal Rumble, Roman Reigns. Watch him. I have to echo what Gary said on the show this week. Much like Kane in 2001, the way he eliminated 11 people, Roman Reigns is going to go on one of those streaks. He's the next big thing.
I definitely agree with that. I've noticed it more. I think I noticed it when actually it was when they had Monday Night Raw here in Cleveland. His first ever one-on-one match in a big spot against Daniel Bryan. And you could definitely see some things there where maybe this is the one you need to look at out of this group. Obviously Seth Rollins has been around and Dean Ambrose, very experienced, but you could see that charisma of Roman Reigns. And I know Doug Lackey on Wrestleview Radio has done research in past years on, you look at the winners of these Survivor Series matches, the survivors, they go on to have big plans in the next 6 months. And I definitely believe, this is actually going to get to my next question. At the Royal Rumble, I think you're going to see him break off the Shield. I think you're going to see the Shield just completely clear the ring out. Then you're going to see Roman Reigns eventually eliminate the other 2. Your thoughts on that?
Maybe. What I think would happen, I do think they're building towards a Shield versus Wyatt thing at WrestleMania. But what I think they will do at the Royal Rumble, or if they do eliminate each other, then grand, then I'm totally wrong. But what they might do is they might eliminate themselves.
Okay.
As an act of solidarity to get at the Wyatts or something. If they go that direction now, if they are going to full-on Shield breakup, then obviously they'll eliminate each other and that's the end of the Shield. So I think it's too early to see right now. I don't think they want to break up the Shield, but they are sowing the seeds for the breakup to come. But there's also a lot of stock in the Wyatts versus the Shield before they break them up.
So you just see that being a program of I'm going to be a badass heel against a badass heel, or are you seeing one of them becoming embraced by the fans?
Well, the Shield aren't heels.
Okay.
We lay this out on the desk. The Shield aren't heels. They don't do anything that's heelish. They don't. What they do?
Anything? Not Dean Ambrose basically doing the chicken shit heel with the U.S. title.
In the ring, yeah, that's only him. But as a group, they are justified in what they do. They punish injustice.
Okay.
They don't attack people randomly. They're always justified in what they're doing. Now, are they wrong? Maybe, but they're not doing it. They're not your traditional heels. On the other hand, you have the Wyatts, who are satanic cult leaders.
All right.
Yes.
You know? So, who's the heel in this? Okay, the vigilante group. I can kind of side with them more than the Satanists who are going to rape somebody in the forest.
That's a good point, but the Shield still don't win as clean as most baby faces. Also, when they jump people at the beginning of the match when they're doing a 3-on-3 before the even match starts, the other two run in and tackle the other guys before it even starts. So I mean, I can see your point, but I can still see it as a heel versus heel kind of thing.
Yeah, in a ring sense, in a working the match sense, yeah. But I think from a character standpoint, you can get people behind the Shield a hell of a lot more than you can the Wyatts. And I think that's how they'd play it if they went that way.
I agree with you, Darragh. See, Rick is the fan that the WWE wants to have again, which he cheers the faces and boos the heels. And he's not a fan of the Shield because at this point, they are heels. So if you don't think they're heels, I'm going to have to disagree with you, Darragh. He didn't like Biggie Langston 6 months ago. Now he's probably the number one white fan of Biggie Langston.
Oh, yeah.
He loves himself some Biggie Langston right now. And that's exactly... Actually, getting into Biggie Langston, what did you think about them giving him the Intercontinental Championship 2 Monday nights ago?
I think it's a good decision. They're definitely putting stock in their future right now. As I said, you have Roman Reigns, Summer Rae, and Biggie. They're the three people to watch as far as upcoming talent goes in the WWE right now. So I think Biggie, he's a total package. People love him. He's your muscle-bound guy. He's charismatic. Put the belt on him. Why not? Because who else are you going to You're going to leave with Curtis Axel?
Right.
Thank you for bringing in my next point there, Darragh. Once again, we're being joined by Darragh O'Connor from Wrestleview Radio, the international desk, and Phoenix 92.5 FM radio in Ireland. Curtis Axel, great idea, I thought. Changing the name. I like the name change. Get this guy in the mid-card. That's what his father did. Figured he'd be good at it. Give him the Intercontinental Championship right away. Not the best decision in the world. In my opinion, the worst decision. Starting him with Triple H and John Cena. Other than what I just laid on the table, Darragh, what else went wrong with Curtis Axel?
The lack of character, the lack of definition.
But he's arrived. He arrived.
Sorry?
That's what he tells us every time he comes out. I have arrived.
And this is the moment.
Oh, this is the moment, he says.
Well, look, we joke around a lot, the three guys on the show, including myself, we're all McGilla buddies.
Yes, McGilla buddies.
But seriously, Curtis Axel is probably one of the biggest misfires I think the WWE have ever actually encountered on. Yet, other than Sin Cara. Sin Cara, I think, is the same thing. They have something, but they don't know what they have. They don't know how to use it, so they just kind of throw stuff at it. And in the case of Curtis Axel, they're like, "Oh, Paul Heyman can do things. Go." And with Sin Cara, it's like, "Jump." Sin Cara hurt himself. So, they really should have took their time with this. Curtis Axel. There's only so much time you can take with the man. Where you give him Paul Heyman and Paul Heyman can't get anything out of him, you're like, right, you need to go now. Here's what they should have done. Put a mask on him and have somebody talk for him. Put a mask on him and just have him as a crazy guy attacking people or something. Give him the boogeyman gimmick. I don't know what you do. Just do something so he's interesting. Give him a character and don't have him talk.
Yeah, I was talking to Rick about this before we had you on today. And, I look at Ryback. How Ryback was repackaged as from Skip Sheffield to Ryback after he had the ankle injury. You start him off just eating little guys. Little guys are going to tell you that 2 is more than 1. Okay, Ryback will just eat him up. And then eventually you start building him up. You have him face punk. You don't have him beat him. You have him basically, he still has only won 1 or 2 pay-per-views his entire career. And granted, Ryback is he the best wrestler in the company? Absolutely not. But I think a fan is more into Ryback right now, even as a character for a guy who doesn't have the greatest promo skills than a Curtis Axel. I just look at those two guys and see how they were built up differently, and now you see why Ryback is still got a pretty decent future right now, and Curtis Axel, you're like, well, we'll see what happens on Main Event this week.
Yeah, I think with Ryback. Well, Ryback. All right. Well, before we jump back into Curtis Axel, Gary and myself go to a lot of live shows, and we went with his younger brother who's 8 to a Dublin house show a couple of months ago, and the two T-shirts he bought were John Cena and Ryback. Right, this one Ryback was working as a face, and he just went into being a heel, so he was still being cheered as a face. They should have kept him a face. Ryback was everything, just a dumb guy who beat up people, and people loved him for it. And then they turned him into a guy who called himself Lucifer for some reason, and Leviathan, names he just picked up out of the Bible. And you're like, okay,
Lucifer, yes. He did do that, yes.
That's what he did, and then he stole Bret Hart's leather jacket, and he was away at the races. So then he kind of bullied people and whatever. Basically, he became a heel, but he was just floating. There was no reason at all for what he was doing. So they put him with Paul Heyman, and I think he benefited a lot better from that. He learned how to present himself and cut promo. So his delivery is a lot better, but there's still no reason. There's no modus operandi for what he's doing. He's just kind of there. But out of the two, back Ryback. But if you want to actually get something out of him, turn him face. Just have him as a dumb guy squashing jobbers.
I agree with you, Darragh. I was talking to someone about that the other day, about how he just had more charisma as a babyface. He was getting more of a reaction. He seemed to wrestle better. He was more comfortable as a face, it seemed, because that's the way he is designed. And the heel turn he had the night after Mania, I wasn't convinced till the next week that he was a heel.
Dude, Dublin wasn't convinced he was a heel.
I wasn't convinced he was a heel till he started going after Daniel Bryan randomly for no reason. I'm like, okay, because Cena was a champion. You go after the champion in this business.
In the match with John Cena, right, we got a tables match between John Cena and Ryback, and it was, do you remember the 2-3 fall match they had, the 3-state hell, whatever they called it, when you had the 3 different matches, one of them was the table match. We basically got the tables match in Dublin, spot for spot, that would appear at Extreme Rules. And the whole crowd was cheering for Ryback, because he was still a face to everybody there.
Yeah, and he's not John Cena.
And he's not John Cena. Well, see, kids like John Cena anyway, but Dublin crowd's kind of weird because they will still cheer John Cena, but then boo him at the same time because their older brothers are there.
Oh, they do that here too.
Yeah. But it's an unfortunate event. With just getting back to Curtis Axel, it's unfortunate what happened with him. I think he was a whole bundle of potential that they botched twice.
Yeah, I mean, promo skills are very difficult to acquire, and I don't know how the guy's ever going to be able to forget the moment that started back in 2010, starting now. Yeah. And unfortunately, putting him with Paul Heyman seemed like a great idea, but then when they decided, let's make this about Heyman and Punk, basically everything you were attempting to do with Curtis Axel, with Paul Heyman, was screwed that night at Money in the Bank. It was over.
Well, the thing about it is, if you really want to look at it, this is the second time that Punk has kind of undone Curtis Axel or Michael McGillicuddy. Because remember, the whole Nexus thing?
Yes.
I thought Michael McGillicuddy and also Wade Barrett, and all the guys who were in the Nexus and the new Nexus were actually pretty good. I really like the Nexus as a group. Punk comes in, hey, it's all about me, and that's the end of the group. So, second time, really, that Punk has kind of undone the work that was laid out by Michael McGillicuddy. So,
what about trying him as a face? Do you think that's an option?
You could train him as a face, but you have to give people a reason to cheer. And, one thing that faces always have is a very strong character or a very strong defining feature. And Michael McGillicuddy, Curtis Axel, doesn't have a defining feature. Other than being boring. Holy, you know what, guys? That could be his gimmick. Lockform 2.0.
I think a way they could do that is, say, huge heels just are attacking, like, Daniel Bryan or something, and, Curtis Axel comes out and saves them. That could be one way to get the fans behind them.
Yeah, but they've done that with R-Truth a couple of times, and we've all seen how that goes. You have to have something to sustain people long term, and I don't think Curtis Axel has it unless they embrace how bad he is. You know, it's kind of like the way people like Nicolas Cage. You know, he embraces how bad he is. He knows that people make fun of him. That's how you get yourself over. Look, actually, to bring it back to wrestling, look at Zack Ryder. How did Zack Ryder get over? He embraced that he wasn't getting over.
Yes.
You have to be creative here.
Look at Santino Morelli. He embraces the fact that he's not a very good wrestler, but he can make you laugh. The comedy gimmick. The match he had with Emma and Summer Rae and Fandango on NXT might be one of the 5 best matches I've seen all year, just from an entertainment standpoint.
Actually, have you guys seen Santino Morella's first gimmick in the WWE?
Is that when he was in the crowd and they said because they were overseas and they said we're going to pick someone out of the crowd to face Umaga for the or as William Regal called him, Umanga for the Intercontinental Championship, no disqualification. Bobby Lashley comes in with the interference, and that's how he won his first match and a title on the same night.
It is, but that's when he was still Santino Marella.
Okay. There's something else I missed.
Yeah, he was originally supposed to have Vladimir Kozlov's gimmick.
Oh God!
I'm not joking.
Wow.
He runs an MMA school. He's actually quite a skilled wrestler and MMA guy.
Yeah.
He got saddled with this Italian gimmick. You know, so it's worth checking out, guys. It's on YouTube. Check it out. I didn't know about it until Gary told me about it, and I find it very hard to take it seriously because I just see Santino. So I know your listeners should check it out because it is an eye-opening experience.
Yeah, definitely. It's like you tell people look John Cena the prototype on YouTube that they're like, what the heck is this?
So good. You know, people say that I hate John Cena. I hate John Cena. I can't stand his work. It's like, no, I actually really like his work as the prototype. I really like his work when he came in as John Cena and was having the matches with Kurt Angle and with the Undertaker. That was great because, you know, he had a character. And, you know, the 5 moves of doom, you know, wrestlers, even CM Punk, the great CM Punk, because people throw that at me too, has the same set spots. He goes through and sets up the 5 moves. You know, guys, that's how wrestling works when you get to that level. But, yeah, there was a reason to get behind him. You know, he sold. You know, there was the whole package. And somewhere down the line, he's like, I don't have to do that anymore. Yeah. And that's why I don't like him. He's good. He's really good. But he doesn't bother. That's why I don't like John Cena.
Let's talk about a guy, as we're talking faces here, that his character kind of was getting a little dry, and then he suffered an injury. I believe you know this man pretty well from your area. He's currently rehabbing from that injury, Sheamus. What do you expect to see from him when he gets back?
That's a good question. How can I put it nicely? Right, first of all, Sheamus... a really nice guy. Legit, really nice guy. Also, very talented in what he does. Loves the business. Has a really good mind for it. Is very good in the ring. Very competent. He can never be a face again. Ever. He can't.
I had a similar feeling that maybe he comes back. You know, maybe at first, hey, I'm back. I'm Sheamus. I'm making all the face run-ins with my axe handles, hitting everybody. Yeah. But then at some point, a character change is needed.
Yeah, like, okay, obviously the rule is when you come back, everybody cheers for you because they're happy to see you. Come on, guys, Sin Cara gets a pop every time he comes out after injury. You know? But, yeah, I think there are certain people in this business that can't actually work as faces or can't work as heels. You know, Triple H is one of them who can't work as a face. He has to be a heel. And Sheamus is another one. You know, ironically enough, they're very similar in a lot of ways. But when you're a minority, I hate to use the term because Irish isn't really a minority, but we're going to go with it. When you're a minority-based character or a shtick-based character, you know, it's very easy to cross the line between your gimmick and just being annoying and quiche. And I think that's what Sheamus ended up being. He ended up being a parody of what he was supposed to be. You know, instead of being the Celtic warrior where he goes in and just decimates people, you know, the big guy from Dublin, you know, just mashes people's heads in. He comes out and goes, diddly-eye, diddly-eye, diddly-eye. You know, it's just like, oh, come on. You know, that's horrible. And people get sick of that. Just same fella over and over again. It's not going to work. Just come out and be the guy who beats people's heads in. And you just so happen to be from Dublin. It's not hard. That was his gimmick when he was working in the Irish circuit. You know, he was the Sheamus O'Shaughnessy.
Yes.
He was a kick-ass guy who went out and demolished people. He was something to be feared on the Irish circuit. Actually, funny story. True story. The singer of my band used to do wrestling, and he used to wrestle with Sheamus quite a lot. So, you know.
Yeah, I really enjoyed his work with John Cena when he first got put on the Raw roster. And I'd like to see that again before John Cena retires. And I know Sheamus is also up there. I believe he's actually older than John Cena, if not around the same age.
Yeah, he got into the business a little bit later than you would think, but he's in great shape, you know, and the look he has is unique. All the tools are there to be, you know, up there with John Cena as far as longevity. It's just a case of not falling into the trap of, you know, Santino Marella. And Santino Marella's not even Italian, so it's a bad example, but not falling into the same trap of William Regal, for example, or Finlay. Yes. God, if he falls into Finlay territory, man, that's it. We're done. You know? Yeah,
William Regal, I like his work on NXT, and after this past week of NXT, looks like they're teasing some little program between him and Antonio Cesaro over on the NXT brand, which I think is great. Give him as many opportunities to be on TV as you can, because I like what I'm seeing from Antonio Cesaro.
Antonio Cesaro is in the top 5 wrestlers in the world.
Wow.
Exactly. Have you guys seen the match with Sami Zayn, the 203 Falls match?
Yes. Very good match, very entertaining, and a hell of a finish.
Yeah, it's just amazing. It really is. And, you know, a lot of people probably don't know him as Claudio Castagnoli, but they should check him out, you know, if they haven't. But he's everything that the WWE, I feel, is going to become in the next epoch, era, whatever you want to call it. You know, I think it's going to be your hybrid of the best of the independents. You know, actually, you know what it is? WWE, I feel right now, is going to be what TNA always should have been. And they missed the boat completely by trying to be what the WWE wasn't, if that makes sense. You know, like, you have the influx of, you know, Ring of Honor guys and guys from Jakara and, you know, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla and stuff like that. They're all coming into the developmental. They've been filtered out. You're getting the best. They're learning how to work a, quote, WWE style, and they're being standardized. But they're coming in and building great matches. Right now in the ring, the WWE's in-ring product is better than it's, I'm going to say, ever. Because, you know, the Attitude Era was fun and all that kind of stuff, but guys, the matches last 4 minutes. On Raw, the matches last 4 minutes.
I agree. There's a reason you got 8 or 9 matches on a Monday Night Raw, 2 hours, with some decent promos of McMahon and Austin going on, and some other side promos going on, too.
Yeah, yep. 4-minute matches. Like, what? D'Lo Brown versus Val Venus. That's not going to be a great match, and it wasn't, because they showed it a lot. We're actually doing this thing on the international desk where we're watching Raws from 1997 up.
That's awesome.
In month blocks. And, yeah, that's an experience.
You know, speaking of, you know, Claudio, his former tag team partner, Chris Hero, also known as Cassius Ohno, recently released from his developmental deal. What are your thoughts on this? Is this something he did to himself, or do you think it's just WWE holding him down, Build him out, holding him down, Triple H just burying with the shovel on Cassius Ohno?
Yeah, see, I don't know what Triple H gets his shovels, because he must go through them an awful lot, because apparently he buries a lot of people. Now, Corey, my co-host, actually hates Triple H, and we're actually trying to get a round table where we talk about Triple H, but he just can't bring himself to watch the new DVD. He hates him that much. I don't hate Triple H. I actually like Triple H a lot. I'm quite a big fan of his. But seriously, I do think that this whole thing has been blown out of proportion. Like, Chris Hero has a weird body type. You know, he looks weird.
Yes.
So when they sent him off, you know, it was obviously to kind of make himself a little bit more standard. That's probably the wrong word to use, but you know, to kind of make him look more WWE assembly line, as it were. And it just didn't work. You know, like, he didn't leave on bad terms. That he can still come back. I don't think this is the last time we've seen Chris Hero. But, you know, when when people leave, when you get a shot in the WWE and then they get rejected or whatever, and then they go off, it's not a bad thing because he can go off now and go to Japan or whatever, go back to Ring of Honor and hone his craft a little bit more, and then come back and then be even better for it. You know, we've seen it happen a couple of times in the past. Like Daniel Bryan, for example, this wasn't his first time in the WWE or flirting with the idea. He was offered a contract a couple of years ago, didn't take it, went back to Ring of Honor, and is probably one of the best wrestlers in the world, if not the best wrestler in the world. As far as Triple H being the reason for this, no, guys. It probably just didn't work out. That's what happens in jobs sometimes.
Yeah. Sorry, Darragh, I cut you off there.
Sorry, I was just saying wrestling's a job.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, as he said, leaving on good terms. Granted, his age he's not going to get any younger, but you know, if you keep working at it, down the road, you could be right back in the spot you were at. Obviously, he had the issue with the, as you said, WWE didn't like the way he looked. They said, "Hey, we want you to change it." He said no, and we saw him off NXT for about 3 months.
Yeah,
came back, looked like he was in pretty good shape. Had some good matches with Luke Harper and had a decent match with Tyler Breeze last week before getting squashed this past week. Now I'm wondering if that will be the last time we see him. It seemed like they were trying to build a storyline between him and I can't remember the guy's. Was it Rusev? Is that his name? Alexander Rusev?
Yes.
Yeah, it looked like they were trying to build something there, but that could just be nothing. If that's the last taping we see Mr. Ono on.
To my knowledge, I think it is. But I tell you what I did actually have a problem with. The way it was done, I thought was kind of harsh. Him just showing up and going, "Oh yeah, you're not needed today." That's really mean.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. You could have just waited till the end of the day and said, "Hey."
Yeah, exactly. Or they could have like called him beforehand. It's just like, "Hey, look, you know, we have to," or an email or something instead of just showing up when he's getting ready. It's like, you know, that's not on. This isn't WCW. You don't do that. You know, but other than that, that's what that's my only problem with it. You know, but again, the job's a job, and sometimes they have to let you go.
Another guy I want to talk about, Darragh, before we get you out of here, Goldust back on the main roster. Seems like he's one of the most polished wrestlers, even in 2013, and a lot of the young guys can really learn from what he can bring to the table. Of course, Cody getting a chance to wrestle with his brother. What are your thoughts on Darth Maul, or Gold Maul, or whatever we're going to call him today, Goldust, back in the WWE, at least for a short time? Okay,
well, let's draw a comparison here. Goldust in 2013 and Black Reign in TNA between 2007 2008, around that time period. I can't remember offhand. Right, Black Reign, wrestling Chris Harris, bleeding everywhere, stabbing people, and being grossly overweight. WWE, a couple of years later, with an older man, remember, Goldust coming in and working with the younger talent and showing them how it's supposed to be. And if you look at it, who has Roman Reigns been working with?
Goldust.
Exactly, and look how well he's actually come on now. You know, WWE knows how to do it. They bring in veteran talent. You know, even at Goldust, even at the age that Goldust is, and he works with the youth and polishes them very, very nicely compared to TNA, who just gets him to stab people.
Oh, jeez.
Cold-blooded.
Yeah, I'm enjoying. Goldust was actually one of my favorite wrestlers when I first became a wrestling fan, and back then I wasn't aware of the whole character he was playing. Right. I just like the look of the God. This guy looks like Gold. That's pretty cool, and always been a very good wrestler.
Sorry, Stephen. Do you remember? Were you watching when he was with the Blue Meanie?
Oh yeah.
That was weird.
That was weird.
As a kid, I was like, "That's really, really strange."
It was at that point I started to realize, this is a pretty strange product. I'm gonna keep watching it.
Right.
That's what it came down to. With that. Wow. So, you know, last time I was on your show, we were talking about some of these NXT stars coming up to the main roster. Now, since then, I believe, obviously we had Xavier Woods come up 2 weeks ago. I don't know if we've had any other guys actually come up, but Sami Zayn and Adrian Neville had a very good match last week in NXT. I actually showed Rick the finisher that Adrian Neville has right now. I believe it's called the Red Cross. And it basically puts to shame anything Billy Kidman could ever do.
Yeah, well, again, like these guys, they have grown up watching, the high flying stuff, so they can build on it and also adjust it to be more malleable towards what the WWE want. Like, I love Jack Evans, but Jack Evans will never be in the WWE for obvious reasons. Like the guy doesn't sell and jumps everywhere, but that's great. It's niche. It's what TNA should be doing. But with these guys, again, it's working the best of the independent scene, but filtering it through the WWE format so it works and plays as part of any other show. So it can be on NXT, it can be on Main Event, it can be on SmackDown, it can be on Raw. It's a feature attraction. It's how you build it. The way a WWE show works, like Raw, for example, you have your marquee show, which is the main story arc, and everything kind of filters down from it. But to the side, you have your trapeze artists. So they wheel those guys out and they jump around for a little bit, they fall down, and everybody goes home happy.
Gotcha. So any other guys on NXT you think could be making the move to Monday nights or Friday nights soon?
Ooh, we're actually going to break that down in a lot of detail coming up on the international desk, probably in the next week or two. As I said right now, I can't see if we're going to see anybody soon, but what I will say is who we have seen, keep an eye on guys who are already up. Summer Rae, there's a renaissance right now in the Divas division, and it is from NXT. Paige is awesome. I really like Paige. Bailey also is quite interesting as well. I think anyone who's a fan of the women division, who likes Diva wrestling, should watch NXT because that's going to put everything else to shame. But quick question, let's see, anyone will come up. I would like to say Bo Dallas, but I don't think I'm enjoying him too much where he is. Sami Zayn, I think we'll see a lot more of. And that's about it. All I can actually say.
Okay.
He's going to be up there now because I don't want to throw out too many names because we'll just lose people. All I can say is right now, if you want proof of the NXT thing working right now, one, watch the show because it is the best hour of wrestling that you're going to see anywhere. But also look at the success. All the biggest names right now, all the guys that you're cheering for or booing, if you're that kind of fan who follows it, they're all from NXT. It's the best developmental system I've ever seen put into play.
I have to agree. It's very, very well put together. And I do love every time you see a heel come out. Anytime you see a Tyler Breeze come out, anytime you see an Aiden English come out doing whatever they're doing, you got the people clapping. The guy's leading the charge is the guy wearing his NWO T-shirt and the guy wearing his John Cena Sucks T-shirt. Gotta love it.
Well, the thing about it is, look, I said this on the show today. It's the product that, quote, smarks want to watch. It is. We get the smart thing gets thrown around a lot of us on the international desk. But, we're all marks. We're all smart marks. Particularly if you do a podcast or whatever, it's just the way it is. But yeah, it's what the IWC wants to watch. A wrestling-based product in 2013 with independent guys on a bigger format. So I'm not surprised at all.
Not surprised at all?
No, not at all. Like, come on. You have the John Cena Sucks T-shirt guy probably doesn't realize that John Cena is getting the money for that shirt.
That's a very good point.
And the NWO shirt, it's like, well, Hulk Hogan was in the NWO and he's worse than Cena ever was. In fact, he's probably the worst person ever. So, it is what it is.
Yeah. It's not. I've heard some things about that there, and I don't think you're far off.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Again, anybody who's unfamiliar with my hatred of Hulk Hogan, it's well documented on the international desk.
So how excited are you to see him at WrestleMania this year, possibly?
I don't know. I haven't thought about it too much. My head will explode.
Oh, man.
Like, okay, just to put it in context. When he was in TNA, and he'd show the video package or whatever, I'd watch it, and then I'd get all of a sudden angry just when I'd see a flash of him. And I was like, what happened? I was like, oh, Hulk Hogan was on the screen. I just to put it into context again, right? When Chris Sabin won the belt, his moment in the sun, right? This man has done it, so much for that company, right? Comes out, walking up the ramp, yay, he won or whatever, right? That's cool. Hulk Hogan's music hits. For no other reason than to put himself over and to say, well, I body slammed Andre the Giant, brother. Why did you do that? There was no reason for him to do that other than being a douchebag.
That's awesome.
So,
wow.
yeah, and then saying brother, no, when he said brother, dude, like right beside each other, I'm just like, why? He can't even cut a promo. So, yeah, no, sorry, I'm sorry for ranting there, but
it's fine.
Again, guys, Hulk Hogan, the worst person who's ever existed.
Strong words.
All right, Darragh O'Connor. True words from Darragh O'Connor. You can catch him on the international desk on WrestleviewRadio.com. Become a VIP, or is that show free still to
Our
listeners?
show is constantly free.
Your show is constantly free, so you can go to WrestleviewRadio.com to get more information there. Of course, he's also on Phoenix 92.5 FM dial in Ireland. Darragh, we thank you for joining us here on No Static Radio today, and we hope to have you on in the future.
Awesome, yeah. It's been a lot of fun, guys. I'm ready to come on whenever you guys need me.
All right. Well, with that, we'll be right back. We'll finish up Off the Turnbuckle here only on NoStaticRadio.com.